I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is the Ingraham Angle live once again from Arizona tonight. We're just 4 days away from the critical midterm elections, and there are really two things that currently hang in the balance. An economy, as evidenced by today's job reports, it's roaring, my friends, and an immigration policy that makes sense. And my simple message is this: let's not stop success, America. Since we're here in the Grand Canyon State, we thought it was really important to talk to some of the voters here. So I'm talking about people who have different political affiliations, different races, different walks of life, to hear firsthand what really matters most to them ahead of Tuesday's elections. Now, these are the voters who are going to decide the neck-and-neck Arizona race now between Martha McSally, Republican, and the Democrat Kyrsten Sinema. We're going to talk to McSally just ahead, but first, we wanted to hear from the voters themselves. We started this evening with the pressing issue of immigration and how illegals have affected this border state. Raymond Arroyo joined me for the questioning of this group. Here's part one. I want to begin with an issue that is front and center right now, and that's the issue of immigration. Now, there are multiple caravans barreling toward our southern border, and as a border state here in Arizona, a lot of the migrants could end up in your own backyard. So, show of hands here. How many of you think we should welcome all members of the caravan despite evidence that there are criminals within the group? Raise your hand. All members of the caravan.
Oh. I don't think there's criminals in the group.
You don't think there are any criminals?
No, I don't think there's any criminals. I think there are women and children who are trying to get away from fear and military dictators and all kinds of other problems in their countries, and they're looking for asylum.
Griff Jenkins was our correspondent down, and he's been with the caravan for a number of days. He interviewed various members of the caravan, and this is what he found out on Sunday. Let's watch.
Are you willing to break the law to get back to the United States?
Yo quiero entrar y pedir un perdón.
He says he wants to apply for pardon for the felony he committed.
Can you ask him exactly what happened?
¿Cuál es tu felonía exactamente?
Number 3.
A third-degree felony?
Intento de matar.
Attempt of murder.
Dan, your reaction?
My reaction is that most of these women and children and families are coming here for asylum, and they're doing it the right way. You have to go to a port of entry, you have to turn yourself in at a port of entry, and you have to apply for asylum. Now, if they don't fit asylum, then they have to go back. But if they meet the criteria for asylum, they're not breaking the law. They should be let in.
Now, let's listen to what President Trump has to say about the way women feel about this caravan.
I don't want them in our country. And women don't want them in our country. Women want security. Men don't want them in our country, but the women do not want them. Women want security.
Terry, I saw you nodding your head or shaking your head a minute ago.
I don't care if nobody is a criminal. Have some respect for this country and do it the legal way. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I switched over for Trump just to vote for him. I've always felt this way. If we let these people come in this way, it's going to set a precedent. They're suffering everywhere in the world. Where do we draw the line? Charity starts at home. Let's take care of our own first and foremost. Then we do it the legal way, not illegally.
Laura, I see Roy sitting next to Terry, champing at the bit. Go ahead, Roy.
I mean, to hear Trump say that women don't want the caravan to come in, I'm sure a number of women wouldn't want to be around Donald Trump. But first and foremost, I would say that let's go through the process. Let's process each case by case. If there was a proper system of immigration in place, then we could properly vet those that were trying to enter into the country and decipher who was a criminal and who was seeking asylum.
Julia, you wanted to say what?
Yeah, there is a system how to come to this country. I am an immigrant, and I did it the right way. You file your paperwork, you get approved, you come here. It's as simple as that.
Well, here's the problem, is that right now our system is being gamed. That's what a lot of people view. The asylum system, it's a good thing to allow people to come in for asylum for certain credible fears. Fear of religious persecution, fear of ethnic cleansing, true fears of persecution for, political outlook. But what's happening for most of these migrants, and we had the Mexican ambassador and the Guatemalan interior minister on the other night on the angle, and they both said that most of these migrants, overwhelmingly, they're economic. They're coming because, like hundreds of millions of people around the world, America is a great place to live. And it's better than most countries in the world. And so they want to come there. Well, let's go to Sergio.
Laura, I want to, what the media isn't also showing is that they're passing live feeds of what's happening in Mexico with this caravan. And the caravan is assaulting police officers, and they're throwing rocks, and they're leaving trash, and they're tearing apart the country of Mexico. You have people there, the own Mexican residents that are living there, that are saying, go back to your country, stop tearing apart ours.
But there was also a feed of them partying and having a good time and being welcomed in different parts of the community.
But they're taking this mindset and they're coming and they're bringing it down to this border.
Yvonne, and on the top there.
I'm an immigrant to this country, and I came here legally. It took me 10 years to get my citizenship, and I also worked in the healthcare industry. And, they look at this caravan. This is an organized group. I really feel it's an invasion of our country. I mean, this is an organized caravan. They have people that have trucks that are hauling these people on the freeway, and then they look at the caravan. They're finding that 80% of it are men, and less than 20% are women and children.
Yeah, the officials that are monitoring this, the Mexican officials, the Guatemalan officials, both that we've talked to and that we've interviewed, have confirmed that. They're overwhelmingly able-bodied, working-age men, women and children being put in the front. And the description of from one of the officials was almost like a human shield. Yeah. That's a fact. That's not a political opinion. No matter what people think about immigration, that's fine, but it's not a political opinion. That's a fact. And I have a question. How many of you here, and you're all of different backgrounds and political persuasions, object to the use of the word invasion? Raise your hand.
Of course.
So that's about half, about split. Yep. How many of the people who object to the use of the word invasion are Democrats? Raise your hand.
They're coming here with their own flag, flying their own flag. They drew a swastika on the American flag and burned it in front of the Honduran Assembly. It's an invasion. I'm sorry, it's an invasion.
There are people that fly the Confederate flag.
I'm sorry,
today. There are people that fly the Confederate flag.
Immigration. I'm sorry, you want to come to this country?
There are people that fly the Confederate flag, so you talk about them burning their flag.
Okay.
Am
I going to have to separate you two?
All right, back row. Hold on. Oh, we got to give everybody a viewpoint here.
So in terms of it being organized, how is that different than caravans of boats that came over with what we call pilgrims, which were simply European refugees? How is that any different when we're talking about caravans and invasions, but we're not talking about what is the original in the invasion of where we sit? We are on invaded land that we invaded. Well, not I, right? But definitely folks who didn't look like me invaded this land.
Well, I think how many here believe that, in part, these caravans have a political motivation in their organization? Raise your hand.
Aren't they suing? They just
certainly.
We're going to get to that. Let's remember, everybody has to get.
Clyde wanted to say something here.
Clyde,
I just wanted to mention and harken back to what you said regarding gaming the system, and what that gentleman said is probably true. We've been gaming the system ever since we arrived by the Mayflower. That's why I believe we have laws, and that's why I think we have a system. I think we do need comprehensive immigration. I got here in 1969. I've been hearing the same story over and over and over again. So I think that we need to take the rule of law and we need to enforce it. And when you said welcome, I'm not sure what that means. We're a welcoming country that can vet each and every individual and use the power of the United States of America to keep us the United States of America.
There was an important thing we learned at the very beginning. This is a half Republican, half Democrat group. Only one person said they wanted to welcome that caravan. Yep. It's very interesting the way these Arizona voters are breaking down. This is similar to what I found when we were in Texas last week. Very similar. Now, as you know, President Trump has moved or vowed to move 15,000 troops to the border.
Already moved the initial to Texas, the Texas border, which is where most of the of these migrants will arrive within the next month.
And President Obama is now responding. We want to play this for you. Get your reaction. Watch.
They're even taking our brave troops away from their families for a political stunt at the border. and the men and women of our military deserve better than that.
Is this a political stunt in your mind? Raise your hand.
Hold on. Raise your hand if you believe there's no reason to have the U.S. military at a border and it's purely politics.
It is politics.
All right, hold on. We got to give everybody here a voice.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
It is purely politics, and I believe this rhetoric is dangerous. When I go back to the word invasion, we are the greatest country in the entire world, and we are scared of a caravan full of folks who are coming to seek asylum. I feel that we can have better use of our troops' time and resources. Here in Arizona, at any given time where I live in my community, we have over 500 homeless youth. 1 in 4 children go hungry. I don't feel this is a great way to utilize our nation's resources. And so, again, we have to be very careful when we use the word invasion. I don't see this as an invasion.
How many people here are aware of the percentage of drugs coming into the country that come through Arizona? Let's have some guesses. What percentage of drugs come through Arizona?
60%.
6?
No, it's a 16.
40%.
Bingo. 40% of the drugs coming into the country come through our southern border. The porous nature of our border.
But I also trust the current law enforcement officials we have, and I don't feel that they need babysitters. We have thousands of Border Patrol agents.
I have another question for the crowd, and then we got to move on to another topic. Another question for the crowd. Okay, here's another question. Do you prefer our military to enforce the borders of other countries, which they're doing in Syria and Iraq, in Afghanistan, mostly in the Middle East, or enforcing, if necessary, the borders of the United States? First question, do you want the military enforcing the borders of other countries or the border of the United States? Let's go to Laura.
Totally okay with the military protecting our borders, provided that we were being attacked. Yeah. I feel like that the nation is crippled in fear right now in each party, and everybody is like just polarized because everybody's either bad or everybody's good, and there's no in the middle. Like, regardless of the caravan, there's a lot of people who are at the border already who walked, whatever, that are really seeking asylum. So we can't lump everybody together.
Does asylum mean
one or the other?
Seeking a job in the United States? Is that asylum?
No, but
that's what most of the people at the caravan want.
No, yeah, I agree. I believe the caravans are like probably a little different, but
it's actually not. The caravan is overwhelmingly according to DHS, according to the Mexican and Guatemalan officials. There's a lot of great people. A lot of great people there, but overwhelmingly when they're interviewed, overwhelmingly before they're coached, they're interviewed. They're set. They want to work.
Right.
Or they want their family members are here. And I think a lot of people understand that. It's very different from a systematic ethnic cleansing, systematic persecution. The Christians in the Middle East are being beheaded, buried alive with their heads. That's a different type of situation. So we've got to be careful with our terminology. Another issue which is nation gripped right now is the issue of race. I want to play for this group, all of you have different backgrounds, what is being said lately about President Trump. Let's watch.
The president's obviously a racist. He's obviously a demagogue.
The rhetoric of this racist, heartless, soulless man will lead to more violence. Yes, I said that, and a lot of Americans believe it, too.
It's a naked appeal to fear and hate is what it is, and it is racist. The president has always used fear to his advantage.
Show of hands, how many people think those media appraisals are accurate? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who feels they're unfair? Why? Julia.
I don't see the president as a person that is a racist. He has shown that he has had many people of different backgrounds, ethnic, everything. And I don't think race is the issue. It is, I don't like you. I don't care because...
What did I do, you
are? Because who you are. It doesn't matter of your background, whether you were English, German, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. It's constantly used to make this man look bad. Use something different. Try something new.
How many people here believe that the charge of racism is used too casually in the United States? Raise your hand.
Why?
But racism is in the family.
Clyde.
Well, I just think that what you're seeing is the last gasp of a desperate group that needs votes, because that's all the Democrats have. And you notice they're very quiet about Louis Farrakhan, and I went to the same school as he did in Boston, know quite a lot about that gentleman. And nothing is said about the things that he has said, such as Jews being termites, and going back to the original time that he first got started. So I would say that they're just using that, and I'm not seeing that. And yes, we've got a president that's kind of a newbie about being a president, and he is himself, and he's a human being. But I would say that they're just using this as race baiting and race. And if you crack a history book, you would see who very surely is the person who has got us into many of these situations concerning race with African Americans.
If you crack a history book, you'll see that there was 287 years of slavery based on race. It wasn't based on anything else.
Promulgated by the Democrats, and promulgated by the Democrats
in America
from day one.
Based on race. We're not talking about political
party. The 13th, 14th, and 15th.
And the party that...
We're not talking about politics. We're talking about based on race. Hold on. We're talking about based on race. I let everybody talk. Can I make my point?
Yes.
We're talking about based on race. African Americans have been enslaved. African Americans after slavery, after 1865, was subjugated to 100 years of Jim Crow, lynching, disenfranchisement based on race. So don't say that the only people that are playing race identity politics have no merit. There's a huge merit. No, there's a huge merit to.
Okay, well, she hasn't spoken yet.
There's also the Jewish community too. You cannot.
I'm not talking about.
She asked a specific question.
We're talking about race.
Laura asked a specific question about.
Okay, one at a time. To respond.
She asked a specific question about whether Trump and everybody, is he racist? He's not. It is an excuse. There's no proof. There's no background.
Do you know?
Let's one person speak, guys.
My good friend Miriam Mendoza knows him, and I know. Yes, absolutely. Don't. It's not personal, Roy. This is not personal. I'm just saying you make a convoluted argument when you start bringing in slavery.
I'm not making a convoluted argument. I'm giving you the background. I'm giving you the history of the country.
Okay, one at a time.
Okay, guys. Economic opportunity in the United States. We're going to get into this. What's happened economically, and whether that has an effect in making people see things maybe a little bit differently, especially Latino communities, African American communities, Asian communities, and how prosperity is rising across the board.